one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make. Just like getting into your relationship was a tough decision to make, you didn't make it lightly. You knew what you wanted. You knew you wanted to be with this person for the rest of your life. The decision to end that relationship is going to be one of the hardest decisions that you can make. And the truth is, no one can tell you exactly when you should do that or when the right time is to do that. So, what I'm going to give you today isn't so much of a roadmap of what exactly you should do before you decide to break up or to end the relationship with your partner. But what I am going to give you are the things that I wanted to know when I had to go through this and what many of my clients had wanted to know when they went through this. There are things that you need to be clear on before you make this call so that you don't have to live with too much regret afterwards. If you've ever been in the place where you're frustrated, but you still imagine the future with your partner, then this video is for you, because that space right there is where a lot of people get stuck. I've been there myself and I've helped people pull through it. I hope this helps you out. I want you to flip your expectations. I want you actually to start with, what is it that you want? What do you want your life to look like? A lot of people start with, when should I leave? And it's very confusing because it's not something that you've ever considered. And frankly, a lot of people who've already been through breakups, separations, and divorce, they don't know why they decided finally to leave. They have probably been thinking about leaving for some time, well before they made the final decision to leave. So what I want you to start with is, what do you want for your future? You need to start with, what kind of future are you trying to build? If you don't have a plan, the most likely thing that's going to happen is you're going to default to repeating what you've been through with a different person. You'll see it. You've probably seen it with your friends. They are either dating or get married to a certain kind of person. And then down the road, they end up with the similar relationship or the similar issues that they had before. And the thing is, the problem isn't always the person. The problem is that you have lost connection with a shared vision for the future. You need to know you'll be okay either way. When you're done with this exercise, what I want you to know is that you're going to be okay, whether you're with this partner that you're with right now, or whether you're on your own, or whether you're with somebody else. All three of these things are options right now. You may not have thought of it that way, but the truth is that you really do have the option to be on your own and be okay. You don't have to be with someone to be okay. You do have the option, if your partner and you are both willing to work on it, to have a good relationship with each other. And frankly, if you leave your partner and eventually you meet somebody, you have the option of having a good relationship with the new person. But the thing that is common to all three of those is that you need to know what you want for your life. If you don't define your future, your past will. It is the most likely thing to happen. And this isn't just my opinion. Viktor Frankl said people need a why. The Gottmans in my certification, one of the things that keeps coming back is that we have to create shared meaning with our partner. How are we supposed to create shared meaning when we don't have an idea of what we want for ourselves? So one of the very important things that you can do right now, today, is to start thinking about what you want in the future for your life. So if your relationship feels off, it might not just be that your partner's not putting in the effort. It might be that neither of you has a clear vision, let alone a shared vision of what you want for the future. For me, I got married because I believe in marriage. I'm a person who knows myself and knows that I wanted to be married with someone. But I'll be honest with you, when I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted for my future necessarily for the next 5, 10, or 15 years, and how that was going to work with my first partner. And that was a major reason that we ran into issues later on down the road. So now I understand, and I understood during my last relationship what it was that I wanted for my future. I wanted my kids to be raised in an environment where people were stable and cared about them and loving and could have open conflict that they recovered from. I wanted to have a kind of relationship where we could make plans instead of things just happening randomly. I wanted to be able to show my kids that life could be enjoyable and that we didn't have to do things in a chaotic way. And that was something that was very important to me. It was important to me to have somebody that I could grow in the future with and build a future together. Those were things that were very important. So even after my relationship ended, those were things that I wanted for myself. I worked on growing and being the kind of person that I wanted to be, regardless of if I was ever going to be with somebody again. And then eventually I met someone who had the same goals and ethics as me, and we got together and we have a great relationship because we have a shared vision of what our near future and our distant future is going to be like. We don't always agree, but we can sit down and work it out and talk about how things are going this week and how we want things to go. And when we fall off, sometimes it's because we're not asking ourselves about, well, what is it that we need this week and what is it that we need in a year? And we start to feel like things are out of sync because one or both of us is starting to head in different directions. That's not the end of the world. Sometimes we do have to talk about the fact that our goals have changed, and then we work out how we're going to support each other in those goals. The challenge in some relationships is that we really do not have an idea what our partners want now versus what they wanted 5 years ago. To that end, you can click the link that's in this video. It'll take you to my school where I will post a document that you can walk through. I will also post a video on there walking through the document to create the vision for yourself, for your future, and how you can talk to your partner about that. Another thing that you really want to know before you go is, did your partner try? Did they really try? You want to have the receipts for yourself. You want to be able to think about, did they try, and be able to measure it. If you can't measure it, there's no end to the misery that you go through wondering if it was just you being miserable. Another thing you want to know before you go is, did you try? Regardless of what your partner did, the thing that bends us up like a pretzel sometimes is not being able to know if we really try. And unfortunately, we can get gaslit by our partners, some friends, sometimes family, about things that we should still do to try to save the relationship. Now, I can write a whole video about why that's not helpful, but I'm going to give you some tools where you can check for yourself. Have you done what you reasonably could? Not been perfect, nobody's perfect, but have you tried? Did you try learning new things? Did you try communicating to your partner what was going on and why it wasn't working for you? Did you try changing what you did in the relationship? I want you to take some time and think about this, and it probably would help to write it down, all of the things that you've done to try to make your relationship better. Now, most of my clients and myself, by the time they get to this point, the truth is that they really have tried everything within their power and beyond. They have talked to friends, they have read books, they have gone to courses, they've engaged counselors, therapists, coaches to try and help them improve the relationship. And if that's you, to be frank, you have done enough. But if you're the person who's just tried to fix it yourself, I would encourage you to do some of that work. If you've been saying, hey, I've just been doing the same thing for 7, 10, 15 years, which does happen, and expecting a different result, it's quite unlikely that you're going to see a different result with you and your partner doing the same thing over and over and over again. And after that, you really should consider, is your partner trying? Are they trying to do anything different? Or is it just you carrying most of the weight in the relationship? It's important to remember that effort isn't just intention, it's action. When somebody says, hey, I'm going to change, you should be able to see how they have changed. And last but not least, have you made the stakes clear? Have you actually told your partner clearly that this is serious? Not just alluded to you not being happy, not giving them hints, but have you actually told them that the way that the relationship is going right now is a problem, and that if something doesn't change, that it is going to end up with you being separated or divorced, and that that's not what you want. At some point, you want to say that these are foundational things in the relationship. Um, Typically in relationships, we try to use what's called gentle startup, where you tell your partner the thing that you like that they're doing or that you liked what they've done in the past. And if you don't have examples, typically it's a good time to speak to someone about why you don't have examples. But if you've never had examples of your partner doing the actions that are fundamental to the relationship going well, it's actually not a great sign. If you can look back and there were these things in the past, you can have a conversation about why they're not there anymore. Once you've had that conversation, it's very important to give yourself time to think about, did anything change? Not just were there promises, but were there actual actions? The actions that your partner took or you took are never going to be perfect, but can you see how things have changed over time and how things are improving? What you're looking for is a trend. You're not looking for a sudden perfect partner. You never had a perfect partner and you never will. And one of the reasons that it's really important to get clear about what you want is that you can then be clear when you start seeing it. Just a reminder, you're looking for alignment. You're looking for a person who could fit into the life that you're trying to create for yourself in the future. Not a person that they will be someday, but the person that's there right now. Can you actually build a life with the person that is in the house with you right now? And this is a tough one. Is the relationship adding or subtracting? What do I mean by that? Does this relationship make your life better or does it make it worse? Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself if what's going on is because they can't or they won't. We typically know the difference as adults between when our partner won't do something that we need them to do and when they can't. So I'm not talking about if you're with someone and they're sick or they're super busy and they just don't have the time that you want to have. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you're with someone and there are things that they can do and they won't do them, even though they would make the relationship better and they would make life in general better. Another thing that's very important to think about is to do a trust check. Has there ever been trust broken in your relationship that hasn't been repaired on either side? So if you're the person that is watching this video and you had a breach of trust with your partner, and not just talking about cheating, there's all kinds of ways to breach trust. Some of them are financial, some of them are emotional, some of them can even be neglectful, which means you just haven't been there for your partner. Have you ever had a moment of trust breach with your partner where you didn't repair that breach? If that has happened and you have never worked on that, on repairing that, that can be a big reason that things are not going well in your relationship. And I would suggest working through that with a professional. I want to clear up some terms. When people hear the term breakup, separation, or divorce, a lot of the time they really hear the same thing. When I say breakup or separation, I want you to know that a breakup and a separation doesn't have to end your relationship. Many people recover from a separation. There are things called intentional separations. A breakup can mean that you are both at the point where you need to end the relationship that you had and that you are willing to create a new one. But if one of you will not work on that relationship, at the end of the day, that separation and breakup are going to lead to a divorce eventually. One person cannot carry a relationship. You need to have the other people involved or the other person involved in the relationship be willing and able to do the things that the relationship needs to grow and do well. Last bit, who should be your allies to this? It matters more than people think. You really have to be careful about who you talk to. You want people around you who tell you the truth, not just support you blindly. You want people who care about you long term and actually are there for your well being and have proven it in your relationship. You also want some professionals around you who understand the situation that you're going through. Therapists, coaches, lawyers, to name a few, are good professionals that you want around you. Also, mediators can be very helpful. What you do want to do is be cautious with people who just take your side no matter what, people who love drama and who love to escalate, and people who are projecting their own lives onto you. Because unfortunately, those people will make this a much more difficult process than it needs to be. You don't need cheerleaders. You need clarity. You need comfort. You need people who can be there for you. And unfortunately, sometimes with the cheerleading comes extra drama that nobody wants. If you're in this position, I don't envy you, but clarity will help with this. It will help you to move forward, to be sane as you move forward. And that's really an important thing that you can have for yourself. Before you go, you should know why. So I've created a relationship tool. I'll post a link below, as I said, for creating a vision for your relationship. It'll be on my Skool. I can't put it up here on YouTube, or I don't know how. And just a reminder, it's not about telling you what to do. It's about helping you to get clear. I hope this helps. Take care.